falling away of layers of identity inevitably bring us to a falling away of the identity of me as this finite self. This finite self includes mind, body, and feelings. Yeah, body is feelings, but the whole body-mind vehicle or matrix, if you like, we are not limited to that. So the falling away of that identity is a doorway, an opening to what we might call a unity experience, the realization that I am one with everything. That doesn't mean this form is attached to another form, but that my essential nature as beingness is the same as the essential beingness in everything. In other words, everything is Buddha. Everything is Buddha nature. There is not a single thing that we can name or experience that doesn't arise from the same ground of being. That's a profound realization, perhaps not encapsulated in that particular language, but as a visceral experience that frees us from the obsession with me and the boundary of me, that I begin here and stop here and everything else is outside of me, and I have to either defend myself against that or try and belong to that for whatever the psychological reasons of comfort and so on are, which then creates layers of identity. So freedom is an undoing of those layers. Self-realization is an undoing of those layers. But when it remains as I am not this body, then we are indeed veering towards non-dual fundamentalism, non-dual extremism, which ends up or has the byproduct of bypassing. If I am not this body, then this body is an illusion. It's not real. The only thing that's real is consciousness. Mm-hmm. And that leads to a neglect of what we might call the well-being or the welfare of the body, because it's not the complete realization. We need to, that realization that reveals itself of the ground of being as fundamental nature has to then penetrate a little bit deeper. In other words, it has to penetrate form itself, which is the realization that form is an expression or a manifestation or an appearance from or within that ground of being. So they're not separate. They're not separate. It's not that I am consciousness and therefore all forms are illusions. Form is the same as formless. Yeah, they're two sides of the same coin. So then the question starts to turn towards, or the inquiry starts to turn towards, do I need to attend to the body? If it's an appearance within the ground of being, if it's the same, yeah, it's simply the same essence, just like the ray of a sun is the same essence as the sun. Yeah, but it appears as a separate ray of light. So the body appears as a separate or individuated form, but it's the same ground of being. It's the same light that, if you like, creates that form.